Hey guys, I want to showcase the newest asset that I've added to the Oka Software membership bundle. It's also available now on the Unity Asset Store. So this asset is called HazeFX. It basically simulates blur, heat haze, and distance-based contrast. So we're just gonna load it up really quickly and showcase it. So you can see here in the distance, there's this heat shimmer that's going on. So that's this heat haze here. It also has a blur effect going on. In addition to that, we have a contrast adjustment effect going on. So all of these effects are really cool. They really help to add a sense of sort of depth to your scene. And I'm going to go through some of the features of the asset and how it works. So the first thing that we're going to look at is how to install the asset. So I'm just going to quickly basically uninstall it and then reinstall it. So you add this asset into your project. You need to make sure that you add the HazeFX feature into your universal renderer data. I'm going to remove it now, and then I'm going to add it. So you just click add renderer feature, and then click that feature. You can choose the render pass event, but I typically recommend using before rendering post-processing. Once you've added it, you need to go to a global volume in your scene and click add override, Oka Software, HazeFX. Now that this override is available in your volume, you need to enable it. Now that it's enabled, you can configure the different settings and enable or disable the blur, heat haze, and contrast effects. This effect naturally works based on a ray direction. You can think of it like if you're looking at the horizon or towards the horizon, the effect will be the strongest. And it also automatically increases in intensity starting from the start distance, and then it reaches maximum intensity at the end distance. So in this case, it's starting at 50 units from the camera and becoming most intense at 100 units from the camera. But we can adjust this. So if we bring this way in, you can see that the effect kind of starts right away, and then it starts hitting these objects that are quite close by. You can also control the blur intensity. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see it. Without the blur enabled, it looks like this. And when we add the blur, you can adjust the radius of the blur. We're not going to increase the number of samples for performance reasons. And so as a result, you can start to see banding as you get to a really high level. I typically recommend something between 1 and 2, but it gives you a lot of control and lets you reach really subtle blurs. You can also use this iterations toggle to give it a slightly softer blur, but just be aware, that does have a performance cost. Now, as for heat haze, you can see the effect when you are in play mode. We include a texture by default, but you can override that texture if you want using this texture override setting. But the default texture should be fine for most use cases. So you can see here that this heat haze is sort of adding a shimmer effect to the objects and scene geometry. You can increase the strength of that effect, and you can increase the speed at which that effect moves. If you want something real slow, you can make it real slow. If you want it to go super fast, you can do that as well. And you can also control the tiling of the effect. So when it's a really low tiling, it tiles pretty much across the whole screen. And so it kind of gives more of like a wibbly wobbly effect. Typically, I wouldn't recommend that, but something between, 5 and 20, I think looks pretty good. And again, you can override the texture here. I didn't include additional textures, but if you want, I can. So the contrast, all of these options are enabled by default, but you can disable them if you'd like. You can control the sort of minimum contrast. So again, these effects increase with intensity towards the horizon, which you can control with this factor. So if you want the effect to increase gradually, you'll lower the directional fall off. And if you want it to increase right away, then you can bring that up. You can adjust that contrast so that the distant objects look kind of like they're obscured a little bit by distant fog. So that is HazeFX. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. HazeFX has been added to the membership bundle for free. You can purchase it individually, or if you buy the membership bundle, or if you already have that membership bundle, you can get it for free that way. Thanks for watching. And again, let me know if you have any questions. See ya.